Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I'm your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain Jay, and with me, my co-host, as always, as well, the numbest of skulls, Mr. Numb Skull.
Hey guys, how you doing?
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Twitch.tv/numb_skull_. Watch him. He does great work. He's currently hyper mythic number 5, which is a secret level beyond mythic currently, I believe. What are you closing the season out in Numbskull? What'd you close? We're recording this on the close of season. It won't go out till a little bit after the new season open. What was the final standing for you?
I actually was like 1600, I think.
Okay. All right.
I didn't worry about getting top 1200. I was kind of over it on the last day.
I'm gonna level with you. This meta is garbage. It's so stale. It's There's no variety. You get the same opponent. You might as well just be playing you might as well just be playing a computer because it's the same deck every single time. At least that's by my observation.
It's just too much when the same archetype is good in multiple formats.
Yeah,
it makes it like hard to play.
So I'm very happy about myself. I made it to 89%, which is good enough for me.
Nice.
That's where I closed out as. And part of it was due to Bang Bus, your classic Alchemy Black that I played best of 3.
That's beautiful.
Which we lovingly named Bang Bus Black. I don't even know why I named it that. I must have been having a really rough night. I don't know. Worst decision you can make, just horny on main. Anyways, if you actually want to see that video, it's on my channel, but that's part of what propelled me, and then I finished it off with mono red just because I didn't want to spend too much time. So I went in win or die mode with mono red and just slammed it. I just hit the gas, and that was enough to push me over.
And it worked.
Yeah, I think I peaked at 91, and I probably settled around somewhere in the low 80s.
Okay, that's fine.
I never really... after that, once I hit Mythic, I was like, it's jank from here on out. I wasn't even trying to be competitive. I was losing games left and right, so... But...
yeah, I started playing some Standard, even.
Oh, my goodness. Not the Standard.
Yeah, I was like, screw it, man. Let's just play Standard.
Yeah. Oh, not
I was over it.
The Standussy. Yeah, I've been jumping back and forth between Alchemy. Honestly, the Alchemy Q is a little better when you're playing Standard. I mean, grass is always greener. I've also done some Historic Brawl too, so
yeah, Brawl's not bad.
Even though it's not competitive, like you don't get ranked for it, it's still a nice way to build. But as of right now, when this podcast goes out for patrons, by the way, did you know that you can watch this podcast early if you join our Patreon, along with a whole bunch of other rewards that you can get, like access to our private Discord, a invitation-only tournament, all kind of cool stuff, insight and input into where we go next with the podcast, what topics we bring up. You get all that cool stuff by becoming a patron at patreon.com/the Black Council. And I'd like to thank you.
Thank you to our patrons.
Yeah.
But wanted to say you can do it for as little as $1 a month.
As little as $1 a month. Well, that's less than I spend on coffee every day.
Yeah,
to support
spend on coffee, especially in a month. Let alone a month. And yeah, we want to have like we always say, we want like quantity. We want more volume of people in here because it is a council. So a little as $1 per month, you can be in the council, and we'll get you hooked up with a bunch of things that we're pretty sure are worth more than $1. We hope so.
Oh yeah. So,
and I guess at least 16 people think so far. We got 16 patrons.
We're at 16. Once we get to 20, that's our next patron goal. We're going to do that tournament. And anybody who's been a guest, or so far we've had Luna Nix as a guest, who was fantastic. That was last week. If you missed it, you got to check that out. And we've had Max Damage from Rebellion on. And Max Damage All 9. So they'll also get an invitation. So yeah, you might end up playing in a tournament with some of your other creators that you like. As little as $1 a month. And if you want to give more, $1 an episode, sure, that's $4 a month. We don't mind. Whatever you want to do to help support the council, we're happy for it. But for everyone else, it is free a day later, and it is live. And we do encourage you to leave comments, chat. We want to talk to you. We always like to hear what you're saying and what's going on. Yeah, we like a lot of feedback. So it is a council. It's not just top down. We hear all voices. That being said, do you want to read off our patrons again as per?
Yeah,
sure.
I
got it last week.
I got the list up. Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
All right, we've got Elvan Breams, Xylo, Jamel, Stumfa, T-Rex is in there too, Magic Studios, Lord Gypticus, as Jay would tell you it is.
It's a correct pronunciation.
And Satanosaurus, Cassius, Nickel Nuts, H-Man, Ulfear, Dantech. Then we have Clever, Blood Chief, and Paradabo, of course. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, guys. You guys keep this thing rolling, so we really appreciate your support.
Yes, as we've upgraded to this better little studio here, and part of the money that we get every week for this goes right to just paying for this studio, so we can have more people on, we can have guests, we can host better, and generally just get a better, more professional looking council set for you.
Oh yeah.
So we're just investing back into it, and basically, I just bought the pre-order with the council money. That was it. It went.
Yeah,
so
I think next cash out, I'm gonna have to do my pre-order.
Yeah, it's all going right into content creation, and I'm not going out to Ruth's Chris and buying myself a steak. It's going right back into the pool right there.
I heard they don't make a very good steak anyway.
I've never been. I'm thinking about going out. I want to get a steak, maybe for Valentine's, but I don't know. I've never been. I've always heard about it. That Ruth's Chris is such a good place, but I don't know.
There's a pub less than 5 minutes from my house, and I guess their best cook is there on the weekend. So you go there on like a Friday or a Saturday night, order like a New York strip. It's gonna be cooked perfectly. It's like $25, but it's like damn good. And I don't like asparagus, but it comes with asparagus, so I tell them just give me extra mashed potatoes. Yeah, I say just, dude, don't put any asparagus on there. Just give me some extra mashed potatoes. They're like, all right. So I got like a shitload of mashed potatoes and a steak for like $25, and they have good beer too and alcohol in general.
Oh yeah, I'm not much of a drinker. I do like a cider. That's probably the only alcohol that I like anymore is cider.
You like cider? Okay.
A hard cider, or maybe occasionally a wine, but I'm kind of over beer at this point. I'm old.
Yeah, I'm not much of a drinker, but I have moments where, like, especially sometimes when I'm eating, sometimes I just want to have like a beer with it or whatever, or just like whiskey, or there are some ciders I like too.
I mean, a Corona with nachos is perfectly. That's great. That's good stuff.
Corona with some Mexican food. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. I do like IPAs. I'm one of your like.
Oh, that's my brother-in-law's like that. He's always got some weird, really heavy, skunky, strong brew that he's trying out. You can't even see.
I like the ones that are like sweeter though. I don't like the. You know what I mean? I don't like that bitter taste in beer. So it has to have like a sweet element to it. I only really like them more because they're strong. So I don't have to drink as many. Because if I drink too many beers, I just get sick anyway. Yeah. So I want it to be like 7 or 8%. I just drink a couple and then I feel great. That's the main reason that I like them. Not even. It's more like an efficiency thing than it is. You know what I mean? Me actually liking it.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I'd rather save my stomach space for more food. That's my advice. So
I feel that.
Like, get out of the way, beer, man. You're just taking up room for. I could eat even more French fries. You're just ruining it.
That's actually very true. You're not wrong there.
Yeah. So we've gone. So thank you for joining us here on our food and drink podcast. We're going to be reviewing the top import IPA. No, we're actually a Magic the Gathering podcast. Despite our little banter in the beginning, we do like to keep it a little less formal in our podcast, in case you're new. But today we're going to be doing something that's much anticipated, which is, of course, top 10 most anticipated by the council cards from Phyrexia All Will Be One. It is coming out in 6 days. 7 days of this recording, but when the first time anybody hears this, it will be 6 days. We will be completed. We will have Mommy Norn sit on us and step on us as we wanted. So each of us, we've done this a couple of times, believe it or not. We've been doing this long enough to, I think this might even be our 3rd time doing it. I don't even know the
3rd or 4th,
the lore or history of our own podcast. But we've done it a bunch, and each time I've really enjoyed it. So for top 10, we each choose 5, and then we choose a pick 0 for the for like the ultimate card. That's probably the most meta shaker card that's coming out. Now, these are our personal preference. It's important to couch that in that. That being said, I can tell you already, if you're looking for hear about the best blue cards coming out, you're in the wrong goddamn place, man. You're in the wrong place, because none of us, me and Numbskull picked us independently of each other. We didn't tell them our picks until like maybe 2 hours
after
before
we already made them. Yeah, they were about 2 hours ago. Yeah.
So right before the recording, we didn't overlap. One of them was an overlap, but I had an extra one that I changed mine out. And obviously none of us picked blue. So because blue is bad. Demir is fine, but blue in itself is bad. So that being said, we're more than happy to share them with you. We're going to go over them. We're going to go over our top 5. We're going to discuss why we think they're going to shake the meta and why this is going to be our day 1 crafting and going into it. If you want to kick it off, Numbskull, if you want to kick it off with your choice first, what year is your 5? So we're going to go from least anticipated to number 1 most anticipated, and then finish with our big banger here.
Oh, we're gonna do least first. Okay. All right.
Least to most. Yeah, we'll tantalize people by moving down.
Yeah, let's do that. We don't want to start off with like the bangers right away.
Yeah. Well then, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Let me switch my control F thing in here.
There we go.
All right. So I am gonna start us off with a green card, actually. It's Bloated Contaminator.
Oh yeah.
This one, this one's pretty good. It is a rare, but, and this is, this card to me is like the essence of power creep. 3 mana 4/4, trample, toxic 1. When it deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. So it's just a lot.
It's huge. It's a big boy.
And the text is very concise. It does a lot, but the text isn't like filled up on the card to the point where you don't even want to read it.
Yeah.
You get great abilities, and you're getting buffed stats right off the bat. And it's not one of those where it's like, oh, if you don't do this, you have to sacrifice it, or you have to sacrifice this to cast it. It's just straight up 3 mana 4/4. It doesn't have haste, so it's not like an even better Ulvenwald Oddity, which the Oddity is like pretty fair because it is a 4-drop. But this is going to give you Trample and Toxic 1, and then you get to Proliferate when it deals combat damage. And don't forget it has Trample. It's not easy for other colors to get something to match just the power and toughness stats of that on their turn 3 or their turn 4. It's what I mean. It's not always guaranteed to happen. There's a good chance that this thing is getting through. And it's gonna hit you, and it's going to proliferate, and it's going to, they're going to start stacking those counters. I mean, what we're talking, if it connects, that's 2 counters right away, and if you have another toxic creature, then you're talking about having corrupted triggered on like turn 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So then you can really start playing your game. So yeah, I think this card's great. Like I said, the essence of power creep, but thankfully there's a lot of other strong cards in the set, so it's not like, we're making green overpowered, but I am going to come out and say with my first card that green is back with this set.
Green is back. I don't know if you saw that most played cards in the current standard, there was like 1 green card in there. I don't remember what it was, but people were talking about it.
It's probably like Titan of Industry or something like that.
Yeah, there was like green has absolutely taken a dip, especially Golgari. Yeah. And you're worried about, I mean, if we're talking about haste, I mean, run it in Gruul and throw a haster on there. Throw a rabbit battery on it. Throw a hammer hand on it. Even better,
Yeah. that thing that gives it menace too, or whatever. So that makes it even harder to deal with.
Yeah. So absolutely, I love Bloated Contaminator. I can really relate to this card. I've been a Bloated Contaminator a few times in my life. So
I've at least been bloated.
Yeah. So yeah. By the way, toxic. That's poison counters. If it has toxic 1, it means it's going to do 1 poison for the people who haven't been around for poison. And proliferate means any number of permanents or players give a kind of counter they already have. So very, very powerful.
Something else noteworthy is that toxic stacks. So like if something has toxic 1 and then you give it toxic 1, that means it has toxic 2. Yes. So it's not like where you can't give something lifelink or like double lifelink, or you can't give something double death touch, or there's no quadruple strike. Toxic stacks on top of itself.
Yes.
So whatever the number is that you're giving it, add that to what it already has. That's how many poison counters it will deal when it deals damage.
Yes, absolutely.
Combat damage.
Absolutely.
I think it has to be combat damage, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Yeah, it's got to be combat damage.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's when it deals. Players dealt combat damage is specifically toxic.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to start off with my pick is a little off, but I think that I won't be playing it that much, but I think it's going to get a lot. I think it's really going to up the amount of power that we're seeing. And that's going to be Sulfim Mayhem Dominus, mythic rare in red. 2 red, 2. Whoop, we lost Numbskull right there. Oh, there he's back. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Horror. Now, the thing about this is, if a source you control will deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double damage to that player or permanent instead. I've been around Magic long enough to know that whenever you see the word double in a Magic card, that's extremely, extremely dangerous. So it also has the ability, you pay 2 Phyrexian mana of red, so you can either pay 4 life and 1, or you can pay 2 red and 1. You put an indestructible counter on Sulfim Mayhem Dominus, which means that it gets counter on it that's indestructibility. So not easy to get. Not
discard 2 cards also, right?
Yeah, discard 2 cards, which honestly in red is not big of a deal.
Yeah.
So that being said, it's also a 5/4 for 4 mana, which is already a big beefy boy, and non-combat damage is doubled. That means every single lightning bolt that you're going to throw, guess what? That does 6. If you're doing lightning strike, that's 6 damage. That is absurd. That is
think about, what is it? Mechanized warfare.
Exactly. With mechanized warfare so heavy,
double it.
+1 and then double it, or even double it and add 1. I mean, no matter how you slice it, if you're putting red or mechanical sources out, non-combat, if you're throwing fire, but you even have things that this makes stuff like what's that one that you tap and it does 1 damage, and whenever you cast a instant it untaps again, the observatory one, the red one.
Oh, the Arcanist or something?
Yeah, Insane Arcanist or whatever it's called. I know chat's probably yelling at me what the card name is, but I can't remember all these card names. You know how many cards I've seen in my life? Yeah, it now does 2 every time. You get multiple of them on the board. So think about the cascading effect there. I tap it, I do 2 damage, I cast a lightning bolt, the lightning bolt does 6 damage, it untaps, I do 2 damage again. I've just done 10 damage in a play, possibly on turn 5. Like for 2 mana. That is absurdly, that's a level of burn that is just gonna absolutely rip through things. So maybe I won't be playing it that much, but I'm certain you're gonna see it. You need to know about it.
And don't forget there's a really fun black card that does damage too.
Exactly.
Corrupt. So in a Rakdos deck, now you might not have as many swamps, but they do have, like, if you play it in Explorer or Historic, they have that one that's like Swamp Mountain. It's the Shockland, so that would count as a swamp too. Yeah. Or if you play Ziatora's Proving Ground, that would all obviously count as a swamp as well. So that'd be a way to kind of fix your mana to make your corrupt deal, I don't know, 12 damage. And I believe you gain that much life as well. So deal 12, gain 12 for 6.
Exactly. And remember, guys,
official,
I feel like it bears repeating. This is a source, so this is not red source. It's not like mechanized where it has to be red or artifact. This is a source.
Yeah.
So
you know what? When you said source, that just gave me the idea. Cemetery Gatekeeper. The one where if they cast a spell of the exiled type, it deals 2 damage. So now it's 4. Yeah. And I know people like to put lands on that. So every time you play a land, you take 4 damage.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous, man. Yeah. People are gonna abuse this card for sure.
Curse of Shaken Faith, deal 2 damage whenever.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Whenever you cast your second spell, you get 2 damage.
Yep. Now it's 4.
Now it's 4 damage every single time you want to cast a second spell turn. Like, yikes, bro! You're gonna get cut down really quickly. So really wanted to talk
walking
about
on eggshells around this guy. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He's not easy to get rid of either.
Yeah, not easy to get rid of, and it makes it like pretty hard for you to play your game. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely pretty crazy. He's gonna need to be exiled.
Yeah, he's gonna need to be exiled. He's gonna be he's an on-site type of dude right there.
Yeah, he is. And I guess there's one of these kind of I don't know if they're all horrors or not, but there's like one of those really good 2 colorless and then 2 of the given color. There's like one of those for each color, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? So there's like a blue one. Sorry, they're all Dominus. Dominuses, Domini. They're all Domini.
They're the Thanes of the color. They're like the underbosses.
Yeah, they're like under like the Elish Norn and the shoulder.
Yeah, they're under.
There's Rask, but
what is there? There's 10 or 20 Thanes in the Phyrexian lore. They're under the Praetors.
Under a Praetor.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Okay, yeah, okay,
yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, these Thanes, they also obviously make it more playable within a 2-color or multicolor deck because it's not 4 of a given color, kind of like the Obliterators or the Obliterator and the Venerator are.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Vindicator. Then obviously the Elish Norn, you know, she's a 5 mana. She's relatively easy to cast. Shoulder is 2 of the given color, so it's not too crazy. But I think these Dominus creatures are looking pretty legit.
They're really good. There's Geth, Thane of Contracts, Vran, Executioner, Thane. Yeah. There's a couple of them out there, so keep an eye. They're all good. They're all legendary. They're good. All right, where are you going next, Numbskull? Where are we taking it next?
Next, we will do. Whoops. What is it? What is that one called? We're gonna do Plague Nurse.
Ooh.
I'm doing 2 green in a row.
2 green in a row.
Yeah, and this is the craziest one. This one's a common, and I see this being a draft bomb, an absolute bomb. So, she's a Phyrexian. It's just straight green, 3 colorless and a green, as a 3/4. She has Toxic 2. Well, I guess it could be a male nurse. The nurse has Toxic 2. You can pay 3 mana. You don't have to tap the creature. Each other creature you control with Toxic gains Toxic 1 until end of turn. Activate only once each turn.
Yikes.
Toxic stacks. You can pay that as many times as you want because you're not tapping it. You can do it at instant speed, so you can do it after blockers are declared. You know what I mean? It just really adds up, and I think in draft, if you got enough toxic creatures, that could be ridiculous because they're less likely to have the instant speed removal for it. Even in constructed, I see this fitting into your toxic deck just to buff it out to get things where you need it to be. Maybe you only get to do it one time and connect, but then boom, now you have corrupted. It's just, you know what I mean? As an uncommon, if toxic is what you're doing, I don't see how she doesn't make it in, personally.
Oh yeah, no, she is very dangerous. I think that you're kind of looking at it. She's a 4-drop, so you're looking at a middle game drop. By that time, if you've set up, even if you're doing Selesnya poison, which is such a weird thing to even
could be a thing.
Yeah, it's because there's all those mites that do poison. You're looking at a dangerous move because you could set up your whole line of mites ready to go, drop her, make everybody even more toxic, and swing. And unless they have an immediate response, it's over. It's done.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. So, and I didn't see if there was something that just gives every creature toxic. I feel like that would have been too much, but I think you can give individual creatures, just not all creatures, toxic. So I believe there's an enchantment aura that gives a creature toxic 1. So even if there's a creature that you're like, oh man, well that one doesn't have toxic, I don't like it. Well, there's an enchantment to give your Sholdred toxic, or to give your Flesh Gorger toxic, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's definitely ways, we add that to creatures with evasion. The Gorger has menace. People don't really want to block a Shoulder. It has death touch, this and that. So we and then she's just gonna give them even more toxic and make it that much more ridiculous for you, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what happened here? Okay, great one. I again, Golgari guys, keep an eye on Golgari. Golgari, if it's not going to be obvious by the end of this, Golgari is coming with the heat. I'm gonna feed into what you said here. I'm gonna feed the toxic atmosphere, so to speak.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with my number. It's hard to pick a number 7, but that is gonna be the Necrogen Rot Priest. Golgari.
Yeah.
Golgari, Phyrexian Zombie Cleric. I love the Zombo Bombos. 1 green, 1 black, and 2 toxic 2. Whenever a creature you control with toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player gains an additional poison counter.
Love it.
And so everything, not only it doesn't just raise the toxic level, it makes everything just get a bonus 1. So you're gonna toxic out people if they don't have a response to the toxic. Like, you could drop this and maybe keep like a Tameo safekeeping so they can't remove it. They might get toxicked out immediately. They might die like right away. It is an uncommon, and it also has a lovely ability. It is a 1/5, by the way, so that's way out of burn range. They're not getting it out with burn unless they're dropping the heavy burn on it, like Purifying Flame or something like that. They're not just getting it with a lightning bolt. It's a 1/5. 1 green, 1 black, and 1 target creature you control with toxic gains death touch. So it doesn't grant things with death touch toxic. It gives you toxic guys death touch.
So now you can't just block these pesky 1/1s.
Yeah.
And profitably, you have to make the decision, if I leave the mana open, if you want to block them and lose your creature.
And you don't know which one I'm going to throw it at.
Yeah. Or do you want 2 or more poison counters?
Yeah. Exactly.
So pretty impressive. I hear people really having good things to say about this. And once again, as an uncommon, crazy power creep. Also a cleric, notably.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. We'll see how much we keep playing off of clerics to see if that gets any more crazy. I'm seeing, because we're on Goldfish right now, I'm seeing the value of this card as it stands is 25 cents. Feels like you could make a pretty good budget toxic deck from what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, you could almost make an artisan or a pauper toxic deck pretty effective overall.
Yeah, so I'd be interested in seeing something like that. I'm sure Jay will do that sometime.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be looking into that. Cheap poison. So absolutely, and also it's important to point out that you can pay that again.
Roundup.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, call it Monsanto.
Monsanto, yeah.
You can pay that cost. That's not a tap cost. You can pay that as many times. You could pay it twice if you had the mana. You can give 2 toxic creatures.
Yes.
So yeah, no limitations on that. Very good. So again, Golgari guys, Golgari is coming with the heat. Yeah, for sure. After being kind of sleeping for a while, it's waking up. What do you got for us?
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think people were talking about using that as a commander too. So that might be some EDH action for you. But my next one, and we'll start. This is another common as well, so that's pretty crazy.
Oh, we're Numbskull's giving you the budget choices here.
Hey, I got your wallets in mind, guys. Don't worry, because I'm keeping mine in mind too. I got to allocate my resources strategically in this set. So, 1 colorless, 1 black. This just seems so good because of Corrupted, and this is where, I've seen a few people say it now. And I think that's the main reason that we say toxic is we actually give it its own name because of the corrupted mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So corrupted being, if the person who owns whatever you're targeting or who is going to take the brunt of whatever you target, if that controller has 3 or more poison counters on them, then you're going to get like an added bonus to your card. So
yeah.
The way this card works to begin with is, like I said, it's a common. It's instant speed, 1 colorless and 1 black. Exile target creature if it has mana value 3 or less. Okay, so automatically decent, especially at instant speed. There have been cards that do this that are sorcery speed that are still solid. They're not necessarily in standard, but they're like considered useful removal cards, especially in sideboards. But in this one, we're talking about if the controller has 3 or more poison counters, you just exile it in general.
Yeah.
Any creature, instant speed for 2 mana.
So
and I think
middle to late game is just an instant exile.
Yeah, and I think that, your Titan of Industry hit. Oh, sorry, you got 4 poison counters. He's gonna have to go before his trigger is resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Before you can even put that shield counter on him, he's gonna get exiled anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And or it hits. Oh, you just put an indestructible counter on that. What are those things called that are under the Praetors?
Thane.
Thane.
Yeah.
You just put an indestructible counter on that Thane. Well, just exile him for me, man. Don't even
just
bother.
get rid of him. He's out.
Sorry,
of the game.
you just spent 4 life for that, but go ahead, get rid of him for me.
Put him on the bench.
Yeah, so that's incredibly effective to me. And I've said we've kind of been, outside of Soul Transfer, we've kind of been missing an exile effect, especially at instant speed. Soul Transfer is a sorcery, so I don't think there is instant speed exile for 2 mana at all right now in rotating formats.
I mean, you compare that to the level of, you're talking about something like Touch the Spirit Realm or what's that other one? Any kind of 1 white and 2 exile for white, which has to stay on the board and can be removed.
Light and
A standard white exile is more expensive and can be destroyed. This is just,
then they would get it back,
and then they'll get it back. This is just adios.
Yeah, this is just altogether instant speed at that, because those often have to be casted, on sorcery speed. So yeah. So here's your power creep. You wanted exile. Here it is. I wanted exile. I'm looking at it and I'm ready for it. Once again, 25-cent card.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Going to be. And now, do I think that price might go up? It might. That might turn into the best removal in standard, depending how crazy toxic gets. This might be one of the best removal cards in standard. Well, my next card might be one of the best removals, but this is going to be
yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing is a common thing used. All right, so that was your number 4. What was that? Was your number 3?
Number 3. Yeah, number 3.
It's time for my number 3.
Let's do it.
Which is going to be, let's see here. Oh yes, I have Glisa, another Golgari. I'm doubling the Golgari. Listen, guys, Golgari's bringing the heat. I can't. I don't know how many times I can tell you. It's Golgari stonks up. 1 green, 1 black. Gisa Sunslayer. She was originally an elf a long time ago, and then she got corrupted and completed and all that. 1 black, 1 green, and 1 legendary creature. Phyrexian zombie elf, by the way, in case you want to get that good zombie deck going. I will. First Strike and Death Touch. Now, the thing about First Strike and Death Touch is that it's almost invincible. You could put 3 blockers against her, and she's going to cut all of them down before they touch her. Because you can assign 1 point of First Strike damage of Death Touch on each one.
Yep.
So you're not going to block her. It's just not optional. And unless you've just got absolutely tons of people to get in her way. And not only that, she comes with a lovely thing called, when Gisa Sunslayer deals combat damage to a player, choose 1, draw a card and lose 1 life, destroy target enchantment, or remove up to 3 counters from target permanent.
Super legit.
Yeah, 3 counters. Don't forget, Planeswalkers have loyalty counters. She could kill a Planeswalker on a hit. She could. She destroys it. Listen, Selesnya enchantments. If she gets down and she's pinging every turn, she's going to work. So
or she's gonna hit your Fable.
Or she's gonna hit your Fable.
Whatever.
She's gonna do something. And there's not really good options for blocking her, as we said. You're just gonna have to try to kill her, man. And if I'm running green, I'm gonna run Gaia's Protection or Tamiyo's Safekeeping because I don't want her to die. Or I'm gonna run Undying Malice so she comes back as a 4/4.
Sure, why not?
Make
it even harder to block her.
Yeah. So listen, she's not playing around. This is one that's just one of those girls that is just not playing around.
She is the Glizzy Slayer.
She is the Glizzy Slayer. Yeah, she is the absolute. She will slay those glizzies. She is officially the throat goat. In case you're wondering about that.
She just eats those creatures.
They go down like a snake. They just go right down.
Something else I thought was interesting is with removing counters, because you know how I think there's some of the permanents they need a certain amount of oil counters, and if they don't have enough, you have to sacrifice it or whatever.
Yeah, or you lose the game. There's a few.
Yeah, so that's gonna be noteworthy too. That's gonna be effective against some of those mechanics. So I like that they added the mechanic and then gave you the answer to it. It just so happens to be a super strong card.
Yeah. So solid card all around with Gisa. I'm definitely crafting her. Rare speed. So Numbskull might be doing some cheap ones. I'm not. I'm big money Jay over here. He's gonna give you the budget.
Expensive one for you at the end. Don't worry.
All right. Well, we got your next. Here's your number. Here's your number 3 pick. Number 4 overall.
Okay. We're gonna.
Oh, this is your 2. This is your 2 pick. Sorry.
Number 2 pick. Yeah. We're gonna bump it up to an uncommon here.
No.
I'm gonna give you Sholdred's Edict.
The
Edict of the Sholdrussi.
The Sholdrussi. What she demand.
So it's 1 colorless, 1 black. And it has 3 modes you get to choose. Like I said, uncommon, instant speed. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature, or each opponent sacrifices a creature token, or each opponent sacrifices a planeswalker.
Good lord, why would you not pick the third one?
Now, instant speed, planeswalker for 2 mana.
Yikes.
The best instant speed that we had in recent memory was Soul Shatter. And that was the highest value creature or planeswalker, so it wasn't even guaranteed to hit a planeswalker. Now you can choose to hit a planeswalker. They just got rid of your, they just put the Lily out and +1. Okay, now she's gone. They just slammed Wandering Emperor. Okay, now she's gone. You know what I mean? All kinds of stuff. And some of these planeswalkers in this set, Jay and I were talking about it before this. We don't know the efficacy of them because of some of their very high mana cost.
Some of them are very spicy. Yeah, they're very expensive.
We're the one particularly we're talking about, is Vraska worth it? Well, wouldn't it feel really bad if you just spent 6 mana and +1, then drew a card and proliferated, and then someone said, okay, Sholdred's Edict, now that's gone. You spent 6 mana to draw a card and proliferate.
Yeah, that's it. And
bad.
That was your whole turn 6.
Yeah, that was probably your entire turn also. Yeah.
And I played it off turn, so I played it with my leftover mana.
Yeah. I dropped my Sholdred and then did this. And now you don't have a turn 6. So yeah, I think this card is going to be super legit. And there, a lot of times, something else. This can let's say you have a lot of mana and you do an Invoke Despair. Someone has 2 creatures out. I'm sure this has happened to you. And they're going to sack the one that you don't want them to sack. Or they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're gonna sack the one that that makes sense for them to sack. Maybe they even have a Shouldered out, and when you draw the cards after they sack the one, you end up losing life off of your own Invoke. Well, this one's maybe you have enough mana and you say, all right, I'm gonna cast the Edict, and maybe they have like a creature token. Okay, you sacrifice a creature token, and then boom, you slam your Invoke. Now it hits the Shoulder, it hits their Fable, and maybe they have a Planeswalker out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, this makes it pretty effective for you. It gives you that. It can make your Invoke Despair even better. I know you do have to use an extra card to do it, but sometimes that combination of cards can really change the outcome of a game, at a certain point. I see this being in main decks, but I see this being absolutely just fine in sideboards as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is a solid... it's odd that it lets you. It's so modal. It lets you say, all right, token, non-token, which is sometimes you really do want to specify. Sometimes the token can be more dangerous.
That's true.
You know, so that gives you that option. But man, that instant speed sacrifice, Planeswalker sacrifice, that is just nasty, man. It, like you said, you've wasted. If you're throwing some hot, like imagine if you just got out Kaya, who costs like fucking 9 or something like that. Like,
yeah, what is she? 7 mana Kaya, 7 drop Kaya.
It's like the 15 cost Kaya. You're like, all right, I finally got it out. And that's what I'm talking about. These Planeswalkers are kind of mana traps sometimes. I always have to tell people, just because something says, oh, you get to destroy every creature. For every creature destroyed, they lose 1 life, and you get to draw a card, and you win the game, and shuffle your library and shuffle your graveyard, and you're like, you might get amazing stuff. But if you're not able to ever get there, like if we're talking about a turn 12 payout, man, there's a lot of traps along the way. The game is sped up.
I hope the point of your deck isn't that.
Yeah,
because you're not going to win a lot. It's a cool thing to just have as another way to win, as an alt win con, but that should not be the main point of your deck.
No,
so you want to. I think the best way here is to find these planeswalkers that synergize with something that you're already trying to do.
Exactly. And I think that probably they're better as commanders just because you can bring them back. You don't have to draw them.
Yeah, that's true.
They do that with that in mind. All right, so I am going to move on to my number 2.
Sure.
Let's see here.
Oh yeah, we're getting it started now.
I'm bringing up my number 2 is going to be the Phyrexian Vindicator.
What a beast.
Yes. Okay, so if you don't know, there's a certain card that costs 4 black mana that might be coming up soon. I won't spoil what it is, but this is if you know, you know. This is the white answer to the Phyrexian, the other Phyrexian black card. This thing is a monster in mono white, even not in mono white. I think it could really find. I know it's expensive with 4 white mana, and that's kind of limited. But even in Boros, where you're running a lot of treasure,
just the lightest splash of red,
or even the lightest splash of black. Phyrexian Vindicator. First of all, it looks awesome. I think that's style points are right there. It is a 5/5 flying Phyrexian horror. If damage would be dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, prevent that damage. When Phyrexian Vindicator is prevented, damage is prevented this way, it deals that much damage to any other target. So if this thing takes
Angel
damage,
Fire Ignition.
Fire Ignition, yeah. Angel Fire Ignition. If we're talking about, listen, I want you to swing in with your duplicated Titan. Give me 7 damage. I'm gonna put 7 damage right back on you, and my horror is just gonna stand there grinning. So it's functionally indestructible unless through direct removal. Combat damage is never gonna hurt it. Instant speed damage is never. You're never gonna lightning bolt it to death. It's just gonna throw it back at you. It is a 5/5 flying, so it's.
I just realized it's a flyer. What the hell?
It's a fly. Yeah, I know. It comes with
I didn't
a free
know that.
flying.
I didn't see that till now.
That's what I'm saying. It's flying. This thing is in the skies. So you're talking about this big freaking this is a turn 4 drop in a mono white.
Yeah.
Unless you've got something to deal with this, it's gonna go bad. It's gonna go bad real quickly. I like to do these where I reflect damage. What I like to do is everybody takes damage. You're something like Brotherhood's End. You just keep hitting Brotherhood's End and you throw the damage it takes at other people. There used to be a one called True Fire Captain that I did that with Boros decks. So I'm absolutely going to be running these, like Goblin Taunter. What's that one? It's indestructible, and whatever damage it takes,
Brash Taunter.
Brash Taunter, yeah.
Love
it. There's a lot of these things.
I'm seeing Selesnya too, fight spells, all kinds of stuff.
Selesnya, yeah, if you fight spells, make it fight something that's humongous, and then throw the damage back at him. There is
Ill-Tempered Loner.
Ill-Tempered Loner in Boros. Listen, man.
Yeah.
Listen. It's a mythic rare, but Lord mercy. I mean,
yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is a lot.
It's really something.
This is a lot. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about just danger on the board. And just absolute danger on the board. I am very excited about it. I'm rarely ever this excited about white cards, but it's just so cool. And it looks like the angel from Doom Eternal, which I really appreciate as well.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that too.
Yeah,
I feel like the sword is almost like shaped like Shouldered in a way.
Well, I mean, everything is shaped like Shouldered.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, oh yeah, I mean, the 4 points. I mean, Shouldered is just like the archetype Phyrexian.
The prototypical.
The Shieldrissy. I love the Norn's aesthetic of the red under with white carapace over. I think it's just such a smart move. Just it looks great. So I even like this in an angel deck. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it really does belong in an angel deck.
Yeah, I could see it. That's just like your blocker. Yeah, imagine this thing out with like Steel Seraph.
Exactly.
Giving it vigilance every turn.
Give him vigilance, so it's on the attack and it's on the defense. Danger, absolute danger. So yeah, that's going to be my number 2 pick.
Okay, I like it.
We are getting to. It's going to be the number 1 for. This is what you're waiting for. This is Numbskull's number 1 pick of what he is excited to see here.
This is the Smitty Werben Jaegerman Jensen. He was number 1.
Yes.
We have, and this is the black version of Jay's number 2. It is as my number 1, Phyrexian Obliterator.
Oh.
And this is just you hear the name and you just things happen in your brain. Everybody's been triggered by this card at some point. And in a good way or a bad way, everybody's either had a terrible experience with this card or an amazing experience with this card. And it usually depends on whether you have it or your opponent has it, or maybe you've experienced both sides of the coin. But this one is going to be 4 black, just straight up 4 black. There's no other. It has to be black. It is a mythic, so I did tell you I'd bring up a heavy card at the end here. 5/5. So the stats on these horrors that all have the 4 mana of their respective color, those are they all seem to be 5/5s. They all seem to cost 4. They all seem to have one particular ability. Now the Obliterator is going to have Trample.
Yeah.
So it's a 5/5 Trample for 4. And the particular text here that is really crazy is whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. And the reason it's so crazy is because it doesn't say non-land permanents, and that's kind of the biggest thing here. And I've watched someone block an Obliterator and have to sack like 5 lands. I want you to block this and kill it with, with damage.
This is dangerous no matter what.
I want a red deck to try to burn this out.
Mm-hmm.
Please do, because I would love to watch you not have any lands for the rest of the game. Phenomenal. The text, show me what Norn's sycophants are hiding under all that pretty porcelain. Children. Oh, I love it.
I think it's also hinting to a little story beat. I think Norn is going to get betrayed. I think Shieldred's going to make a move on the throne, personally.
Yeah, I think Shieldred's plotting, man.
Yeah, she's the
Norn's
whispering
looking a little too comfortable up there, a little too comfy up on that. This is the Phyrexian Obliterator.
There actually used to be a worse card that I used to use called a Phyrexian Negator, which was a 5/5 horror, and it cost 1 black into, and whenever it is dealt damage, sacrifice a permanent for each 1 damage dealt to it.
Nice.
So it's actually cheaper and did the same thing.
Did it have trample?
It had trample. It was a 5/5 trampler. So they actually had to nerf it and make a new card. Phyrexian Negator. The thing about it is you could play it on turn 1. So what I would do is I would play 1 black
Dark
mana,
Ritual.
play Dark Ritual, and play Phyrexian Negator, and then the other person would just get up and leave.
Yeah,
the other person would just get up.
It's disrespectful.
Oh yeah, no. And if I was feeling really salty, I would play 1 black mana, 1 Dark Ritual, play Priest of Gix, which was 1 black and 2, and it was a 2/1 creature, and it gave you 3 black mana, and then I would play Phyrexian Obliterator. That was turn 1 of that deck.
So you would get 2 creatures out at once.
I would get 2 creatures. I had a 2/1 cleric and a 5/5 trample Phyrexian Negator out on the board on turn 1, and people would just go, I don't want to play with you anymore. I gotta go. So yeah,
that's
Obliterator.
Like, mono black is the way to go.
Oh yeah, that's when you fall in love.
You learned it early.
Yeah, I was seduced at that point. So yeah, Obliterator is the nerfed version of it. Absolutely brutal. Okay. Imagine putting both of them in an Orzhov deck and just seeing people hurt.
Yeah, that would be
back to back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
right.
I think Obliterator is amazing. Very happy with it.
Yeah.
And so there's the Vindicator and the Obliterator, and we only have it in black and white so far. But it sounds like each one of those are like the champions of their respective.
Yeah, they're the pinnacle of
creator.
Yeah.
So like, if there were a fight, it seems like these two would actually be fighting each other.
Probably.
Sheoldred and Norn actually went at it, which that would be some crazy lore. I would like watch that in a movie, honestly.
Oh yeah, I want to see some
CGI
I mean? Of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be like some. That'd be like some Transformers shit, or like what's that one? Pacific Rim. It'd be like that level of epic fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
kind of heavyweight fight.
To be honest, I mean, at this point, Sheoldred has that dragon engine body. Norn humanoid. I feel like Norn would just, Sheoldred would just like sit on Elish Norn and grind her to death, which I would also pay to see. So if you're a 3D artist and you want to get paid a lot of money for printing that scene for me. Anyways, moving on.
You're not responsible for what he does with the image.
No, I just don't worry. You don't have to ask questions about what I'm doing with it. We didn't do, oddly enough, I wanted to talk to you about covering more of our creatures in oil and keeping them nice and oiled up all. We didn't choose any oiled up creatures. It was making Numbskull very uncomfortable last time about having to keep his creatures. You got to just dump oil and just lube them. Oh, they got to stay so lubricated. Pour the hot liquid oil all over them and make sure that they're functioning.
I figured you were gonna pick some.
Just to mess with you.
Talk about it.
Just to tell you that they walk in and they go, grease me up. Oh God. Well, grease me up, Len. So yeah, they have to be covered in oil. My number 1 pick, unfortunately, is not an oiler. It is going to be big shout out to Raven, because he's obsessed with this card. He hasn't stopped talking about it.
Oh yeah, Raven loves this shit.
That is going to be the Venerated Rot Priest. This card is unbelievably dangerous. Currently, in the current meta, and I want to say specifically this, if any card has the option to switch the entire meta up and make people change how they're playing right now, it's Venerated Rot Priest. Venerated Rot Priest is a 1-drop green, 1/2 with Toxic 1. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. If you are playing targeted removal of any kind, you are going to poison yourself for today. Yeah. And you only need so many. If you have this stacked up with whenever a creature gets a point, you have it with Necrogen. Whenever a creature you control with Toxic deals combat damage, well, that's more poison. So saying, oh, but I'm not going to get to 10. You don't need to get to 10 just off this. Just the fact that I'm adding 3 or 4 a turn for any creature you control. Now, I want you to think, this is not creatures with Toxic. This is not green creatures. Any creature that you target, you're gonna get a poison. There's no way to stop it. There's no interrupt that you can do. Even if you want to play a kill card on, it's already down. You're gonna get a poison counter if you want to go.
Yep. Because that was on the field when you targeted it, so that goes on the stack.
It goes on the stack.
Even if you go to remove it.
And if you go to remove it.
And if you go to remove that, guess what?
You get a
poison counter anyway.
Yeah. And I want to also point out, I want to get into the rules a little. I want to parse them apart even more. Becomes the target. You don't have to succeed in doing it. If I do something and I put hexproof on it, or I do something, you targeted. If it failed, or I counterspell or something like that, you still get the poison. just for the attempt.
Well, if you give a hexproof with like a safekeeping or Gaia's Might or whatever, they're actually going to get 2 because it became a target from you as well.
Yeah.
So they get 1 from themselves and then 1 from you.
Exactly.
Eliminating that ability with hexproof or indestructible or whatever.
Exactly.
So
You're going to be
something, you know.
You're going to double punish them. People playing targeted removal who are relying on shocks, who are relying on, play with fire, abrade, fateful absence, cut down.
Yeah.
Listen, this is not like, oh, well, turn 5, I can get my protection out. This is turn 1. This is opening hand, drop it.
Yeah.
And if you're going to start trying to do something, it's going to get bad. And I'm swinging in for toxic as well. So the danger here of poisoning yourself is so high. You're gonna end up by turn 3, if you keep running removal, you're gonna end up half poisoned already. We're gonna get to corrupted right away. You're gonna be half poisoned, and the rest of my deck is just gonna whittle you down. The fear that this is gonna put into people and I think that the meta is way too reliant on targeted removal right now. The fear, this is really this is gonna change things. I think if people are playing this correctly, this is really, really, really going to modify things. So that's my number 1 pick right there, with the potential to really, really change around the meta.
And I'm thinking about you were talking about like Undying Malice earlier, like when someone goes to remove it. Okay, well, that's fine. Put the Undying Malice on it. It's not going to actually be removed, and it's going to be even stronger. But like, imagine doing it on like a Flesh Gorger, any of those prototype creatures. You do the Undying Malice on those creatures when this guy's out, so you get your fully buffed version of it. They get 2 poison counters for trying to get rid of it, and they actually just made it worse. So,
and imagine doing it like you're putting on stuff like you said, Gorger or anything with Ward out. I love Ward already because it punishes you for targeting. So they're discarding a card, paying 3 life, get a poison counter, or discard a card, get a point. Nobody is happy. They're just going to be absolutely wading through a sea of shit to try to target stuff. It's just, it's going to go bad.
And something else that I think is good is this is going to force decks that don't run a lot of creatures to actually play creatures.
Yeah.
Like those, Azorius control decks that rely on killing you with tokens from like Teferi and Wandering Emperor.
Listen, Faithful Apps, Fading Hope. You kind of keep running that same Fading Hope scam. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah. You're gonna have Corrupted on like the second one.
Yeah.
Because I probably hit you one time already. And then I'm gonna, start just outvaluing you like crazy.
Exactly. Even if I'm just
counter my stuff fast enough.
Even if I'm just pinging one time every turn, I'm still hitting you with 1 poison counter. It only takes 10. So, I'm pinging you per turn,
Well, and one of the biggest drawbacks to poison counters was, it's so hard to actually get through to the opponent. I got to have so many with poison or toxic. Okay, well now you don't.
No, there's so many other ways.
Spells.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there are spells that do something to a creature. There's that new fight spell. It's like the new bite down.
Yeah.
And it's a fight spell, and then it's proliferate. So you're targeting your creature. So you give opponent a poison counter, then you proliferate, and you give them another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's
bad. This is gonna be pretty crazy. So we're talking about, turn 1, this guy's out. Turn 2, you play whatever you play. Maybe that creature has toxic, maybe it has death touch, and then you have it fight another creature, and then opponent, and then you swing. On turn 3, the opponent could actually have corrupted triggered art.
Oh yeah, I mean turn 3.
Imagine
turn
on
4,
the play,
Turn 4, you could have Necrogen Rot Priest out, and then they're getting 2 poisons per turn, if it deals combat damage. So they're in a bad shape.
Yeah. I think this is great.
Yeah. So one honorable mention, I think I forgot to bring it up, but one honorable mention that I want to talk about is that we're talking about poison, guys. Is there a way around it? There's a slight way of helping. I just want to bring up the card in case you haven't seen it. It's Malira, the Living Cure.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you saw it yet. if you want to try to get anti-poison, this is going to be the biggest anti-medic deck, anti-medic card.
Oh yeah, I did.
It's a legendary creature, human scout. It's Selesnya, 1 white and 1 green, 3/3. If you would get 1 or more poison counters, you only get 1, and you can't get additional poison counters this turn. So it'll always limit you to 1. Now, it won't negate them. It won't, it doesn't take them off or anything like that. But it will slow a poison deck down quite a bit. You also have the ability to exile her and choose another target creature artifact. When it dies, it returns to the battlefield under its owner's control. So she does have a lot of abilities, and if you are trying to not get poisoned and you want to run something Selesnya or anything with white and green in it, that is going to help. So because I know a lot of people are like, Jay, what am I going to do with all these poison? Melody or the Living Cure is kind of where you want to look to fight against that meta. That's probably your only hope right there. To counter.
And then we're talking about being able to profitably block a lot of those early toxic creatures, because this is a 2-mana 3/3.
Yeah.
In addition to everything that we just said.
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely very effective. Could be like one of the better sideboard cards for Selesnya. You could see toxic so much that you just have to put it in your main deck, and maybe you just want to have a 2-mana 3/3 anyway.
Yeah.
Even just based off that, maybe you just want that. So yeah, incredibly effective. Very good honorable mention. Yeah,
that's probably the biggest honorable mention. Just people need to be aware of it. That's available, because I know people will skip over it if they're heavy other colors and they don't like Selesnya. They'll just go, I don't know how to deal with this poison. That's the best way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And our universally loved pick, was it your universally or did I force it on you? Our number 1 tier 0 pick.
I was thinking that you would just be so into the Obliterator that would be the universal one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think if there's one that we just think is like the all powerful kind of super crazy value, because wasn't the last Elish Norn like? Sorry, I just said what it was, but wasn't and you guys probably guessed it already. But,
you know what it is.
Wasn't the last one like 7 mana or something?
It was very expensive, but it had a very powerful ability.
Yeah, and this one's very powerful, but it feels like it's much more playable.
It's more playable, yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So,
but yes, I'm not. This was not decided against my will. I think this is a phenomenal card. Let me just say that.
I think that it's tier 0 because it's going to be such a meta shaker. People are going to be trying to spam it. It's going to be Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. Big mommy Elish Norn. She is doing it. Why is she so amazing? 1 white and 4, so can be played pretty much anywhere that white can be stuffed into. 4/7 vigilance. You're not burning her out. You need direct removal. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of permanents you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. That is such a modification to the way the game is played. And we're not done. Oh no. Permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of permanents your opponent control to trigger.
Yeah. That's something else.
That is, she shuts off your opponent and doubles your abilities. So any OTB ability triggers additional time. Any OTB or ETB, sorry. Any ETB abilities of your opponent don't trigger.
Yep. That's really something. That's like, there's a lot of ETB stuff right now. It's like we almost judge the value of a creature by what the ETB effect is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we don't like, if we don't get some kind of crazy ETB, we think it's not good enough for us, especially in Alchemy. Alchemy has so much ETB.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So like, City Stalker Connoisseur, crazy.
Yeah.
Or if I play it, discard 2 cards, man.
Yeah.
Discard your biggest. Okay, and then whatever was the biggest after that, discard that too.
What about playing in Alchemy and you get 2 Sanguine Brushstrokes out? You get Sanguine Brushstroke twice.
2 blood tokens and 2 blood artists.
You get 2 blood artists on the board.
Yeah.
What about getting a transform? What about getting a transformed graveyard glutton out? And if it's in its transform form, you get to eat 4 creatures out of the graveyard.
4 creatures, yeah. Gain 4, lose 4.
Yeah, I mean
that's pretty effective. Yeah,
that's super effective.
Well, Titan of Industry.
Titan of Industry.
You get to choose 4 things.
You can
or
pick
you
all
choose
of them.
two things twice. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
So
or
if you
their
have that
Titan.
out, you shut down their Titan.
Their Titan doesn't work.
So,
it's just a 4/4.
yeah. Yeah.
Yikes.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yikes, bro.
Fable. That means no 2/2. And does it get the lore counter?
It would when it enters the battlefield, I guess it would be delayed a turn.
It enters, or no, doesn't it say it enters with 1, I believe is how it works. So I think it goes up, but it definitely doesn't get the 2/2 goblin.
I don't know if it might go up to the here. Let me read the text of it. What does it say here?
Or would you have to wait?
As this saga enters the battlefield, and after your draw step, add a lore counter. So the first drop would not go off. It would go off a turn late.
Okay, cool. Okay, so now we're talking about slowing down fables. That's
fables
ridiculous.
Fables don't work on turn 3. You would get your draw step the next turn. It would go to saga. It would go to counter 1, a lore counter 1.
Wow.
Yeah. So the nerfing power and buffing power you get, which is very in theme of what she did. Her previous Grand Cenobite, all your creatures got +2/+2, and all your opponents got -2/-2. Very much I give and I take mentality of Elesh Norn. And we're talking about, maybe I won't play it all the time, but we're talking about meta disruption here. I'm not looking forward to this crap playing against this in Azorius control either. So listen.
Oh God.
Yeah. It's not
going to be
fun.
You're going to make us play creatures? Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to play Elesh Norn. That's my choice.
Yeah. So absolutely. Gorgeous artwork too, by the way.
Phenomenal.
And they literally called her Mommy Norn. They had to know what they were doing with that. So absolutely brutal. Just absolutely brutal. Just the ability to shift the whole dimensions of the game like that. So that's going to be our honorable mention. You have any other honorable mentions you want to throw out there, maybe to keep an eye on, or you pretty?
Oh yeah. I did have one, and I did want to say, this is, and I think some of you guys may have heard me talk about it on stream before. Is I love creatures and abilities, and I think maybe they always realize the value in it, but like I think we're really starting to see it with all these Phyrexians now. You get rewarded just for playing the game. I played a creature, now I get double whatever the ETB is.
Yeah.
Sholdred, I drew a card, I gained 2 life.
Yeah.
Conversely, you experience the opposite of that in the negative effect.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about Shoulder is very dynamic in that regard, but it's not without being too powerful, because it still dies to 2 mana removal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like Shouldered is you can't deal with it, but it demands to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And then that will shape a meta, but it'll also do it in a way where it doesn't make things too broken. Like, I don't think Shouldered's too broken. I think Shouldered is a hell of a card. I don't think Elesh Norn is too broken. I think people are going to abuse stuff with it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You know, the double ETB is really something, but yeah, so it's kind of that thing. You're getting rewarded just for going through the regular progressions of the game. You're getting double triggers, you're gaining life for drawing, and that's just part of you playing the game.
It's passive. Call it passive income, right?
Yeah, it's stonks basically. So, but we're talking about, you get rewarded for playing the game, but like kind of like Jay said, it reshapes the mechanic itself. And when a card does that, that's really important. But that's also kind of the whole point of Magic, is you have a card that says that you get to break the rules. You know what I mean? That's like, these are the rules, but there's a card that says you can do it twice instead of once, or break the rule, or you know what I mean, or benefit from the rule, you know. So yeah, but let me I digress from that. Another one that I thought was kind of crazy, another one of these horrors here, Drivnod. The black dominant is the 3 colorless, 2 black. It's an 8/3, so like kind of unfortunate in that regard, because it dies to some cheap damage removal, you know. dies to strangle, dies to abrade, dies to lightning strike, other things. But if it's so it's an 8/3, which I mean 8 and an 8/3 is pretty crazy. And you can also give it indestructible by exiling 3 creature cards from your graveyard, spending 2 mana, or by paying 4 life. So that's an option as well.
Yeah.
So maybe like a reanimator deck, this might be really good or something. But
yeah,
if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time.
Yikes.
So yeah, so the little like the ping damage when something dies, or unfortunately it doesn't trigger Junji twice. I was trying to think about if that worked, but it has to be another permanent you have that says when a creature dies or a creature you control dies, does whatever. You know what I mean? So like Blood Artist, obviously. In Alchemy and Eternal formats, Meat Hook. So you lose 2 life when a creature of mine dies now. You know what I mean? If the Blood Artist is out, now you lose 4 life. So things like that. And I think there's another creature that says you lose 2 life when a creature dies as well.
Yeah.
From this set.
Well, you got
the Blood Artist.
You got what's her name?
Is it Fran or something?
Or Ilvek.
Ilvek. Okay, yeah.
God, what is it? Why did I forget what her name is? Ilkor.
Oh, LS Ilkor. Yeah, of course. Yep, absolutely. So yeah, LS would trigger twice, so that's an option. And then you have plenty of other stuff. Or I wish they would bring something like this back. What was the one? It was something Valkyries, and it was like it was the enchantment. And when an angel you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Like, could you imagine if that was like still a thing? Or
exactly.
Just like whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature, just like in general as an enchantment. And then like imagine if that triggered twice just from one of your creatures dying. Just stuff like that. You know what I mean? So look for these like death trigger, death effect things. You know what I mean? Because he could make them really pop off. And maybe you didn't think it was worth it initially, but maybe if he's out, it really becomes worth it because now it's amplified times 2.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and not to mention an 8/3. I mean, not terrible. You can casualty 8 with Ob Nixilis if you want. So
that's a big hit, right? That's a big hit right there.
Yeah, the instant ult on the Ob, not bad. So
well, I think that all of the Primuses and all of the Thanes are basically, I think they're all going to be crushers, except the blue ones because they're bad inherently.
that white one is crazy too. Mondrak, the double tokens.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's already projected to have some value, at least monetarily. So
I think the biggest problem is that his name is Mondrak.
It's kind of weird. Kind of a weird name. Yeah, I don't know how you say it. Mondrak. I have no idea how we're supposed to say that, but
no.
Yeah, kind of a weird name. It looks like the male Elish Norn almost in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, really good value. You're getting those might tokens with him. That's another crazy one. So you get double mites that with like the toxic and all that. They just obviously that really starts to add up.
Or even put it in soldiers.
Yeah. Getting those soldier tokens, absolutely. So yeah, I think we have value in that card, and people are going to abuse it. I think people also might, because I think it counts with treasures. Yeah. So you're talking about double treasure tokens too. So that might be a really big commander card because treasure tokens are big in commander.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that could be a situation where the value of this card's inflated because of the value in commander, because commander players will pay whatever for a card if it makes the deck better, which is
they don't care.
Yeah, because a lot with commander you don't. The cool thing about the commander is you get to always keep it in your deck, so you're not like, oh man, I spent $40 on that card and next year it's gone.
Yeah.
Or, I spent $75 on this Meat Hook and then they nerfed it the next month. And
yeah. Also, you only need one of them. That's the more justified
Yeah. Well, yeah. For Commander, right. You can only have one. So it's like, all right, well, I'm going to spend $50 in this card, but I only have to get one of them. I don't have to drop 160 or 200 on 4 Sholdreds like I'm probably about to do myself.
Oh, no.
You know. Yeah.
I'm so glad
MagicCon in Philly, I'm going to have to probably have at least 3 Sholdreds.
Oh, here's a question. You know, I'm going to bring this up right now and put it to the question. Should we do a podcast? You're going to MagicCon Philly.
Yep.
Should we do a live podcast from MagicCon, from the floor MagicCon? Should we make?
We can, because I just got a gaming laptop yesterday where I could totally handle like doing shit.
We will do some. We will do some live MagicCon footage stuff for Black Council only. Next year we'll get a booth there.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, I am gonna be in the. I don't mean to just only plug myself, but I am gonna be with the Magic Jank team, since they're like a sponsor of mine. So
fantastic.
Really cool people in there. Yeah, like Hollywood Pizza's in it, Philly's in it, Ham Hawks, Isaiah MTG, Damien's in there, Damien F16.
Is that like a specific group, or like what is it?
Yeah. You just they just kind of like invited me to their group, and they have like the affiliate link where you can. Like they have some merch designs for me.
Oh, fantastic!
Outside of the regular merch designs that I have on my Streamlabs store. So that's definitely a thing. And then so I guess they're gonna have a booth at MagicCon. Hollywood Pizza, as everybody knows, runs those tournaments.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have a panel as like one of the speakers, I believe.
Yeah.
That kind of goes over like how to run like a legit MTG tournament on Melee and stuff like that. So
okay,
he runs tournaments where it's like maxed out. The entrants are like they can't have anymore. Like they would have to. I think he was talking about. He's like, I would have to pay Melee a bunch of money just to be able to have more people. To the point where like it's actually not worth it because he does like free tournaments. You know what I mean? So. He's like, I'm not, and so I get it. Like, you don't want to have to pay even more to host your free tournament just because it's so popular.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
You should start to get paid eventually. Like, Melee should pay, in my opinion, Melee should be paying Hollywood Pizza because I think he does a great job. But
he does great tournaments. I've been talking. I'm not too interested in tournaments overall, but I've mentioned to a few people that I would be interested in, maybe doing some announcing for tournaments, some play-by-play.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
For sure. Yeah, that would be legit.
So definitely, we're gonna have an unofficial presence. The Black Council will have an unofficial presence at Philly. I'm not going. February is just not a good month for me.
We'll be half present.
We'll be half present. Maybe next year I'll go. Cloaked like a ring wraith, so nobody knows what I look like.
Equally, I can I don't know. I might be able to set up like some kind of IRL streaming in that regard. Yeah. Like of me like playing in one of the tournaments or something.
Absolutely.
Like that,
Absolutely.
I just tell somebody to hold my phone or something, or
we'll try. We might even. I was thinking we could try to do one. Just if you find a decent place on the floor, just do a little bit from the floor. Just to say what's going on, what are we seeing, and see what's up. Yeah,
like we could even do like some council stuff where we do a live interview with somebody.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That'd be kind of cool. So I know Philly's gonna be there. Maybe we could talk to her.
Oh, you might get some interviews. Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to Pizza. I'm sure Pizza would be down to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Pizza and I will probably be hanging out for a little bit. So we'll definitely probably get something together. We talk to Ham Hawks. We can see what's up.
Oh, absolutely. So we're looking forward to that. If you want to see that, or if you're going to Philly MagicCon, look for Numbskull and give him the secret Black Council handshake. Which, of course, if you are a Black Council member, you know what it is. I don't have to explain any further than that. You give him the secret sign.
Jay's gonna sneakily put what the sign is in the Patreon posts now.
You pull down your shirt and you reveal your tattoo that you've gotten over your heart
of the mark of the beast.
Yeah, the mark of the council on you. You reveal your signet ring, and we'll know. So, really looking forward to that. February is gonna be a great month for Magic and stuff going forward, because we're gonna have MagicCon. We're gonna have the new set. We've got a bunch of tournaments coming up. We've got a lot of good stuff. So really looking forward to what's going on in February here. Yeah, and if you want to join, you want to see all this stuff early, you want to be involved, you want to actually be part of controlling what that is and getting a say in it for this podcast going forward, join the Black Councils right there on that Patreon. We'd love you to join us. But I think that's it for today. I think we went over everything we wanted to go over.
Yeah, we just about covered it.
We covered it. I'm looking forward to some theory crafting and some creation. And yeah, the meta is gonna shake. It is gonna shake the world. So with that all being said, I will call this meeting of the Black Council to a close. Thank you all for coming. Thanks to my partner Numbskull here.
Take care, guys.
Check them out on twitch.tv/num_skull_. The links all are going to be in the description below. On Twitter, we're right there. Check all that out. All the links right down there. Leave a comment, leave a like. Adios, everyone. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.